It is day one of the Bible study, and we're studying John chapter 1. We're not going to be focusing on every single number. I'm just gonna talk about what stood up for me. And on the trailer, I told you some things about John. On number 1 and number 2, let's read this. We're not going to be doing that more often because I hope you'll be reading it or listening to me very carefully. I'm probably gonna read 5 to 8 verses, not even a bunch. This has 52 verses. I might read 10 verses if it's too much, but I need to catch you up and follow you up with these things that are happening. In John chapter 1, the others started their own gospel with maybe Jesus being born, maybe even from the descendants of David. But John was focusing on this. Let's read this. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. So my first question was, who is this Word? He was with God, and he was God. You feel me right now? The answer to who is the Word is Jesus. And that opened up my eyes. Oh yeah, right. In the beginning there he was the Word. After that the Word became flesh. This part, listen to me. It says, in him was life, and the life was the light of all mankind. If you think about it, this is very cool. The first 5 verses talk about Jesus and how he became flesh and how he was a light to all mankind. Every single day you wake up to see the morning. That's because the darkness never overcomes the light. Or you might even say the light broke through the darkness. And after that, it talks about John. If you don't know John, John is a baptizer that used to live in the desert. Because he lived in the desert, he used to eat insects and honey as well for a living. I mean, to survive. Imagine eating insects every single day of your life. That's what his life was, according to his meal. There was a man that was speaking as he was baptizing these people about the coming Messiah that is going to save them all and baptize them with not even water but Holy Spirit, and he was talking about that. So John came before Jesus to testify about Jesus and to make ways clean the ways, to clear the ways. I don't know, but the main point of him coming is to let them know, because they indeed have failed to recognize him. Even though they were expecting him for so long, they expected Jesus to come and free them from slavery and everything that was conquering Israel at that time. And the people failed to recognize him because people's expectations are right here, but Jesus and the world standards right in the end of the screen, I'm telling you. And the people were confused because the Messiah is supposed to look beautiful. He's supposed to look glamorous. He's supposed to be rich. He's supposed to be born from a king heredity or something like that. Yeah, they expected him to fight wars and win. But no, Jesus was the opposite of that. He was so peaceful, by the way. I can't even express how peaceful he was. So the people's expectations and Jesus did not meet. Ooh, I love reading this part. Let me read it for you guys. John testified, "This is the one I spoke about and said, he who comes after me has surpassed me, because he was before me." Mother called in the middle. It was annoying. Let's continue. Okay, this Jewish leaders stepped in and they were asking some questions to John. And the Jewish leaders were guessing who he was instead of asking him. But listen to what they said. In Jerusalem, priests and Levites asked him who he was. He did not fail to confess, but confessed freely, "I am not the Messiah," he said. And then they asked him again, "Then who are you? Are you Elijah?" They're guessing again. They're not even asking the question. He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" He said, "No." Again. But they asked, "Who are you?" "Who is John?" They said, "What do you say about yourself?" John replied, as Isaiah said, "I am the voice calling from the wilderness that says, make straight way for the Lord, because he is coming." "Then why do you baptize if you're not the Messiah?" they said. He did not answer their questions first. First he had to say something. He said, "But among you there stands a man. He is the one who comes after me, the straps of sandals who I am not worthy to tie." That's what he said about Jesus. I'm guessing the people were, "Whoa, okay. Speak highly of this man. Who is he?" He answered back, I baptize with water, but the one who comes after me baptizes the Holy Spirit. And then the next day came, and Jesus was walking amongst them, and they didn't even notice. And then John was baptizing again. He was talking about Jesus. He was testifying what Jesus has sent him to testify about, and Jesus was there. They just didn't know about it at first. The next day, Jesus was coming to John to get baptized, and John said, "Look, the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. The man who comes after me but has already surpassed me because he was before me." Yeah. So that's him, guys. Nice to meet you and everyone. So he was introducing Jesus to the people and people to Jesus. While he was talking about this, two of John's disciples were listening. They had their ears open and they just started following Jesus. No more John to Jesus. No more John to Jesus. They just converted like this. And then they started following Jesus. And like Jesus doesn't know what they're thinking, he asks, "What do you want?" And they said, "Rabbi, where do you live?" Jesus replied, "Come and you'll see." And by only rumors, Jesus had 2 disciples. And then Jesus, he changed Simon's name to Peter because why not? He loves changing names, doesn't he? He said, "You are Simon, son of John. You will be called Cephas." It's Aramaic for Peter, so it's translated as Peter to Greek. And Jesus changed his name in like a second. Yeah. The next day he was leaving Galilee, and Jesus asked Philip to follow him. And Philip said, "Sure, why not?" Philip was so excited, I think he ran to Nathanael and called him, and he said to him, Hey, I found the Son of God." And Nathanael's first question for Philip was, yeah, I just imagine him with glasses. He says, "Where does he come from?" And Philip says, "He comes from Nazareth." And then Nathanael says again, "Can anything good come from Nazareth?" But then Philip said again, "Come and see." And then as they approached Jesus, Jesus said from afar, let's read this. "Here truly is an Israelite, whom there is no deceit." I'm guessing Nathanael freaked out and said, "How do you know me?" Jesus answered him, "I saw you under the fig tree before Philip called you." And then Nathanael, "Rabbi, you are the true Son of God. You are the King of Israel," he said. And then Jesus answered, "Do you believe me because I told you I saw you under the fig tree? Very truly I tell you," he said, "you will see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man." I did not understand this part, by the way. I was asking a friend of mine about this last number, and he was talking about the last day of Jesus coming. So as I could see, Nathanael was a person that gave up hope in this whole thing, because he even said, "Can anything come from Nazareth? I mean, you know Nazareth?" But then Jesus came and he changed his life's story. Even before he saw him, he saw him under the fig tree crying. Or not. I don't know if that's accurate, but even though he gave up on thing, he started to live again. He was truly amazed by how Nazareth people are not a disappointment. So let us rest this thing in our hearts. What I learned from today, what stood up for me the most, is as you saw from the people and even Nathanael, Jesus does not come the way you expect him to come. Even Nathanael said, "Can anything good come from Nazareth?" And the Pharisees and all the religious people were not expecting Jesus to come the way he came. But Jesus did come the way he came. So what I want to say to you all today is, don't expect Jesus to come a certain way. Don't expect him to come like fire, or don't expect him to come like water, or don't expect him to come like you expect him to come. He comes the way he wants to. So don't bound that Jesus by religion. Bound him by love. Bound him by seeking for him more and more every single day. That's the amazing Jesus we have in our lives. So that's the conclusion of chapter 1. If you enjoyed this video, maybe leave a like and subscribe if you haven't, because more people need to see this video. I left the notes I took on the description, so check them out. Yeah, thank you for watching. If you need to see this video, have a nice day or night. I love you guys. Bye.